So that was the most recorded that I ever did any of these songs. It was actually inspired by a bass line from my friend Etienne, and that's him playing the bass, and then I wrote the song from that bass line and sent it back to him, and then he put some drums on it. We never finished the song. We never went any further than that, and just the chorus. And everything else was just recorded, just me on the piano, one shot, kind of like I'm gonna try and do this video. Difference is those songs were all practiced over and over and over and over. I know it doesn't sound like it probably if you're a perfectionist like I am, but I would sit and play those songs over and over and over and over and over, which is not something that I have done with this, but I want to talk about why I'm releasing this video. Not the video, but why I'm releasing the songs. You see, I'm just going to leave all these errors and just stream of consciousness, try and keep it under 10 minutes. I'm already at 2.5. I was going to try and do it 5, but I've really hidden all of this music from everyone, except for a short window of time when all of these songs were written between like 2003 and 2007, which is when I recorded finally. And the only person that's heard a bunch of them, I'm going to start with this because I just think it's a pertinent story that most people have never heard. So I met someone at the airport. I was traveling a lot in my late 20s, and there was this guy that came in and started talking to me. And I was very innocent and naive, so I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought he was being nice. Really good looking guy, probably in his early 40s, I would guess at the time. Gave me his card, and it turns out he was a music producer. He ran a record label in France. Hopefully that doesn't give it away too much, but I'm sure there's lots of record labels. Anyway, it was a very big label. They had some definite superstar A-listers, like their catalog on their roster, etc. So I started talking to him, and I sent him some music. So I was like, I had this music that I always wanted to get rid of, or not get rid of, I'd wanted to release, and never done anything with it. What do you think? Like, be objective, give me your honest take. And of course, it wasn't objective. And then he invited me to go on vacation with him in Mykonos in Greece. And he kept pestering me like, oh, you sing so beautifully and I can help you so much in your career and blah, blah, blah. And I had met the guy on a flight from Costa Rica to the US. And so he was back in Costa Rica like 6 months later, and he invited me to come and hang out with him. And by that point, I kind of had a pretty good idea of what he actually wanted, and it didn't have to do with loving my music so much as wanting, yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, there was some temptation, because I'm like, well, I mean, if it makes me a rock star. And so if you, and I'm happily married and I have a kid, and I'm very straight, but no matter how much you judge other people for their decisions, until you've actually been in that position where you have an opportunity to achieve a dream that is something that you really deep down inside want, that you desire. Probably shouldn't judge people too hard for being tempted or for even succumbing to that temptation to sell their soul, I guess we can say, or at least their body, to achieve that. So I said no, and that was kind of the end of it, and from there I kind of just gave up on music. Not that was like my, it just sort of happened, and it was like, I think it was 2009-ish, and this was recorded in 2007, and the years prior were when I was really wanting to do something with music. I lived in my car for a while in California, trying to make it with various musicians and different bands and stuff, and in hindsight, I would do things very, very differently. I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any mentors or anyone that I could really trust other than my close friends that I was making music with. But they didn't really know what the path was either. And so this music all just kind of died, and I just kind of left it behind. And then I started having success. Well, I was already kind of having success when I recorded this, but with being an extreme athlete, with traveling the world, with business, and so I just let it go. It wasn't something that to me was a part of me that I wanted to show, because I didn't think it would be accepted, because now I'm a macho extreme athlete. I do crazy things. People are like, wow, you're such a badass. And I was living the dream, working remotely, living at the beach, traveling to a dozen different countries every year. I had girlfriends in different cities all over the world. Like, the idea of putting out a bunch of emotionally charged, very vulnerable, raw music at that point was pretty much gone. That would not support the other side of me that was the facade that I was living, that everyone saw and seemed to love and respect, and I needed that ego boost. And so I just didn't do anything with it and just kind of let it go. But it was always something that I knew in the back of my mind, like, the real me is creative, the real me is an artist, the real me feels things profoundly deeply, which is why I can empathize with people, sometimes too much. And that's also the source of passion for whatever project or whatever it is that I'm doing. But as I've gotten older, the longer that you keep things hidden, the longer that you live a lie, basically, the longer that you stay away from your true self, the more that's going to start to just bubble up inside and have negative effects. And you can look at the gallery and the write-up that I did about that. But the irony when I was looking back at some of these pictures is I recorded this in 2007. And in 2017, I posted one of the only pictures I have ever posted on social media of me with an instrument. And because in the whitewater industry, it was actually okay if you played guitar or whatever, but you couldn't take it seriously. I remember there's a couple like pro kayakers that were really good that released some music albums. And there was just a lot of negativity and criticism of that. And I saw that because I respected those guys as kayakers. And I respected that they had the balls to put their music out. But I also saw the negative pushback to that, and it was like, oh, okay, so you can sit around a campfire and you can play, a few cover songs or whatever and sing Kumbaya while you're drunk with your kayaking buddies, but you can't actually take music seriously because you're, a whitewater athlete. So the irony is that the only picture that I posted was in 2017 with a guitar, and it had nothing to do with music. It was just me posing, talking about the board shorts that I was wearing that I was trying to sell for Face Level at the time that I had designed. And they were really nice shorts. Ironically, I don't have any of those shorts left. I gave them away to all the guys that I was sponsoring at the time, and I ended up with none of them. So someday I might make some more because I really like those shorts and I like the designs. But just the irony of like using something that was so real in such a fake way. And now, here 9 years later, and it's been a journey of like the last 5 years, really, of understanding the overcompensating that I've done in my life, coming from a very masculine upbringing, a lot of very successful people in my family tree and in the family, in many different ways, successful intellectually, successful in business, successful in whatever it is that they were doing. And so those were the things that were valued. Your athletic prowess, how tough you were, how hard you could work, and how much of a badass you were, like how much pain you could endure, how mentally strong you were, how successful and smart, how well-rounded, yes, but only if it, led to being productive. And music is not productive. Art is not productive. Being creative is not productive unless it's being used in a business sense, which is what I did. I used my creativity a lot, and still do, to sell things, to market things, to create brands or identities or products or whatever. But that's why the last couple years I've posted a lot of different variations of the same rant on social media about the universe is not competitive, it is creative. Because that line from the book by ULS Anderson really has stuck with me, that the universe is simply creating. It is just being. And God or the universe, however you want to look at it, define it, is always evolving, always creating, and always will be. It's never going to stop creating, and we are a part of that process. We can be a part of that process. But if we get bogged into this material system, which is governed by corruption and political rules, which make it look like it's a level playing field to compete, but it really isn't. And if you get into that, realize you can't compete unless you're willing to be evil and manipulate those power structures in your favor, or you can just create. And it's taken really deep, intense work with plant medicine over the last half decade. And I am forever grateful. I was going to say indebted, but that's really not it. I'm grateful. I have such deep gratitude for the people that have helped me along that journey. You know who you are if you're watching this. And really, it's been a revelation of stop overcompensating. You have to just be real. You have to be authentic. There is no higher vibration or frequency than authenticity and truth. And there's nothing more freeing or fulfilling than authenticity and truth. And so instead of living partially the truth, saying, oh, this really is me though. This really is me. I'm just doing it to make $1 million. I'm just doing it for these clients so that they can make $10 million, or I'm just doing it for these reasons. There's always a catch. There's always a reason that isn't the real reason. And the real reason has always been hidden. And that's no way to live. If you do that, I'm just sharing my story. If maybe this helps somebody. Stop. Be real. Be authentic. And that's really all this is. Like I'm sure that this will be received with crickets, like most things that I've put out there. And if not, then great. If the music touches somebody, that's awesome. I still like to listen to it now. I think it really touches something, like I guess because I created it, so I like it. Even though it's obviously not perfect, like I don't always hit the right notes and I mess up on the piano and there's some places that aren't finished and whatever. But for me, it's just I need to put it out there to be free because I want to make new music. I want to be free to be completely authentic. And because this is something that I've just held on to that was so deep at that point in my life 20 years ago. And I've been afraid to put it out and let anyone see it or hear it. For me, it's just a matter of putting it out there to be real so that I can be free to move forward. And it's not about looking back. It's just, well, this is something that I have that I was too scared to put out. And so now I'm going to put it out. And I'm going to share it with the world, and I'm not going to hide it. And what comes of it will come of it. But for me, it's something that needs to be done so that I can move on. And so that I can take that next step in my integration of healing and growth and learning to say, okay, let's move forward now. Let's write new music. Let's create new art. Let's build new things. Let's design a new world, a better world, outside of the current system, but let's do it in a way that encompasses the whole of us as spiritual beings having a material, human, earthly experience, instead of just here or just here, because there is that balance, the beauty between thoughts and feelings, between the intellect and the emotions, between the heart and the mind. And it needs to be all integrated together. And so, even though most of this music is pretty just hard, very emo, there's a couple songs. The first song especially, I was starting to really grow and change in my worldview, in my perspectives, in how my ideology about life was growing. And so I don't agree with all of the songs here ideologically anymore. Some of them are silly and immature in terms of like my emotional state. But I mean, that's what love songs are. That's what heartbreak songs are. That's what emo is, right? So it is what it is. Like, they were songs that I felt deeply, and I think they're pretty still. Or I think they're like intense, and I'd love to record some of them maybe in the future. But I want to make music again, and I want to move forward and not look back, which is why I'm putting this out there just raw, unfinished, really. It's just me on the piano with some harmonies that I threw in after. And because otherwise I'm afraid that I will just get bogged down in like trying to make them perfect, and then I'll never release anything and I'll never move forward either. So it's just, I want to be free and I want to live in the present. And so I'm putting it out there. Yeah, I don't know if this video is gonna make it or if I'm gonna have to re-record another one, but this was a little bit of my journey. I probably wrote it better. I think in the future I'll be able to articulate it more clearly, speaking about it. But the most important thing is we are here to learn and grow and evolve, and all there is are lessons. And the only way to learn those lessons that are for us individually and uniquely, the only way is to be completely authentic, to be real. And if you can be real, you'll learn those lessons much faster and level up much faster. And for some of us, it takes a lot longer to get to that point than for many others who learn it really young, and that's why their flame shines so brightly. A lot of times when you see artists who are just pure passion and authenticity and realness when they're young, and sometimes their star burns out quickly, but think about the impact that they left by being so real. And for some of us, it takes half a lifetime to figure out. And so I'm going to continue figuring out. There's lots to learn still, but it's nice to be in a place where I can say with confidence, I know who I am, I know my be, and I know what that translates to in terms of a do. And so everything starts there. And this is just another step in my learning and my process. because I want to learn the lessons that I'm here on this earth and this journey to learn. And that's the only reason why I'm here. And the only way I'm going to learn those lessons is by being real. And so I have lived my life at Redline, and I'm content with sharing this album with you, with the world, called Life at Redline.